Uh,
What up, nephews? Here we are for another segment. This your Uncle Junior here, just coming to you guys today. I got a real good friend here, real good treat for you guys. I got Uncle BJ on the mic. Uncle BJ, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. What's going on, Ken?
Man, not much, man, not much. There, just trying to get these nephews some content, understand, give them some wisdom. You know what I mean? Help them navigate through life's troubles, and hopefully help them avoid some certain pitfalls that many of us have fell into. So, without further ado, I like to jump straight into the content. But in order for you to feel more comfortable with the nephews, I want the nephews to feel more comfortable with you as well. So I like for you to give a little background, like your upbringing. Did you have mom, step pops, the dynamic, and then where you from?
So I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York. I grew up in Brooklyn in the Coney Island area.
Hmm.
We grew up. I grew up in the projects.
Mhm.
Um, Life was a little tough growing up. The environment, but I don't know. You know, you you don't know where you are until you leave your environment. So it when I actually left Brooklyn is when I realized, wow, this is how other people other people live. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I was living in an extreme and didn't realize it
Mhm.
at the time.
Mhm.
But it was raw fun. Grew up and went outside, played basketball, we played stickball and football and baseball, and um, you know, uh, there was violence and crime, but
Mhm.
like I said, it's not until you leave till you realize that, man, yeah, that was an extreme. But
Yeah.
as far as parents and growing up, I had mom and dad in the house
Mhm.
for the first 16 years, and then they divorced, and of
Mhm.
course that have impact on your family dynamic
Mhm.
and your view of the family life.
Mhm.
As I got older, I just made sure that number one, that I didn't become a product of that environment,
Mhm.
and that fast forward 25, 30 years now, I didn't repeat the same mistakes that my parents did, and we kept the family unit together and made sure that those things didn't happen. As a matter of fact, the reason why I left Brooklyn was because I did not want to raise my kids in that environment. Um,
Mhm.
and the reason why, one of the major reasons why we kept the family unit together is because I didn't want them to not have mom and dad at home. So,
Right.
yeah, it all worked out.
That's what's up. That was up. And where you stand at now, man?
Yeah, so I live in Matthews,
Mhm.
in Charlotte, Matthews, North Carolina.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
That's what's up. And so, growing up, man, like what was the dream? What was the idea? What were you gonna be doing when you grew up? Yeah.
I don't know. I had a lot of ambitions as a young man growing up. Uh, the first thing I ever remember wanting to do was architecture. I wanted to be
Okay.
an architect, and I never touched that at all. But
Okay.
I was always fascinated by um, infrastructure and buildings. It's like,
Mhm.
man, how did they start this, and where did they start it at? And so and then that kind of phased out, and I kind of gravitated into computers.
Mhm.
Very computer oriented today.
Mhm.
And as I got a son, he's 14, and he kind of take on that same trait. Spend a lot of time in front of the computer. I remember one Christmas getting my first computer was the Commodore 64C.
Yeah.
It's this old relic,
Is
man.
that the green screen one? Like Oregon Trail one?
No, man,
Yeah, yeah.
it was the old computer, man.
Yeah.
And I remember when like AOL came out, and that was like
Yeah.
a big thing. And then the internet was like, what is this?
Yeah.
You talk to people from all over the world, and it was just
Yeah.
crazy as computers evolved. And then, like I said, I grew up in the projects, and
Mhm.
of course, there are other means of income that is accessible to you,
Mhm.
aka selling drugs and stuff like that. But like I said, for the first 16 years, I had my dad there, and he was not having it.
Yeah.
And I never really entertained that thought, but
Yeah.
the opportunities were very real and apparent. You know,
Yeah.
you live in that environment, the opportunity to get into mischief is always going to be ever present.
Yeah.
But I chose to obviously not go that route, and thank God that I did not.
Hmm.
And then, you know, up until today, I still have a side hustle. But back then, my side hustle was cutting hair. So I have a younger brother that I grew up with, and one day I grabbed the clippers and I cut his hair.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I messed it up pretty bad. You know what I mean? And then I got better and better, and over time, by the time I was 14 years old, I was cutting hair in the neighborhood, and
Yeah.
that grew into going into the barbershop and, you know, learning. I never got my license. I was an apprentice under another master barber.
Yeah.
But I took on that skill in order to make money for myself, so I didn't have to do other things that probably wasn't as you know, lawful.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
And so,
know.
so what are you doing now? What do you do now?
So fast forward, I am a manager at a blood center. I manage a team of 25 phlebotomists. You know, going from, again, from the projects to a barber to a phlebotomist, and then now
What's
I'm managing.
and what's the phlebotomist, man? Just for those of them don't know.
Oh, all right. Most people think I'm talking about a brain surgeon, somebody, but a phlebotomist is the person that comes in and draw blood
Hmm.
from you when you're in the hospital. So if they
Yeah.
if the doctor or the nurse need blood samples, they will call phlebotomists to come in and to draw those samples for you. Um, we My team works for a independent blood center that then goes and draw blood from the community, and that blood that they draw is used for transfusions for people in the hospital that need help. So it's a
Okay.
it's a huge community focused type you know, job. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I do that for a living. I manage 6 centers,
Hmm.
and about 25 phlebotomists, and yes, it's great. It's a great job. It's a great career. I
Yeah.
like it, and you know, I like being able to make a difference. You know, so
That's what's up. That's what's
yeah.
up. Yeah, man. It seems like you say, man, like you had several walks of life, man. You know, you know.
Yeah, and you know, now that I think about it, it's like wow, you know. But I got into blood banking because a good friend of the family's, uh, a good friend of the family was working in a lab
Mm,
and in New York City,
mm,
and they were relocating to Virginia.
mm.
And before they relocated, their boss asked him, "Do you know somebody who will work as hard as you did
Yeah.
um, in the lab?" And she recommended me, and I got the job, and I've been in it ever since. So
That's what's up. And so with that, you probably ran across a lot of people that kind of took on the mentor role, right? Like, did you have like one memory of a one mentor that kind of like sticks out?
yeah, I had several people that kind of mentored me and took me under their wing. You know, next door neighbor, you know, big brother in the neighborhood, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, played basketball, you know, just, just your everyday people, man.
Yeah.
Nothing too. No one really sticks out like
Yeah.
individually, but there were
Right.
plenty of guys out there that were just like, do the right thing, stay out of trouble,
Right.
play ball, stay positive, join the basketball team, that kind of thing. Along the way,
Right.
they
So
come in, they
no,
go.
nobody you like strive to be like that.
No, no, not. I mean, not from a personal sense. Nobody that I strive to be exactly like them,
Right.
but there were many people that showed me great examples of like what a man should be. Especially like as I got older, I got heavily involved in the church,
Hmm.
and as you know, your local church, they got you know Big Brother's always watching. You got people who you can call and
Right.
whatever, or activities. My thing was just being a part of something that will keep me busy enough not to be a part of something else.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
And
so go ahead, go ahead.
that happened long enough for
Right.
me to kind of figure life out and figure out where I wanted to go and what I didn't want to do. So
Right, right. And so with that, like you said, you people looked out to you, so they kind of helped steered you so that you could, be a positive person. But like, what characteristics kind of stood out that you can recall that you kind of like it's traits that you did not want in yourself, you know?
um so like I said, I really honestly believe that people say, oh, he lived in the ghetto, or he
Mhm.
lived in the projects, or he lived this or that. But I really think it's more of a mindset than in place.
Okay.
I think that because now that I think about it, I was kind of institutionalized
Mhm.
without being in prison because um, the mindset of the people that lived in that community was just trying to grind every day. Everybody had their hustle, whether it was good or bad. Everybody was out for something. And so it didn't take long before I realized that, okay, this is the wrong way to go,
Mhm.
you know, and then this is the right thing to do. Like I've watched people like drink past what it meant to drink socially. I'm not talking about a can of beer. We're talking about somebody who just drank until they died. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
abused alcohol and drugs and stuff
yeah,
like that. And
yeah,
you're privy to that. You witness that and you be like,
yeah.
okay, I'm not doing that.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
Or you watch, you hear gunshots, and next thing you know, somebody who you was just chilling with is now gone.
yeah,
Okay, I'm not doing that. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
it
yeah.
becomes this this grind to survive. I
Mhm.
mean, literally, man, to survive.
Yeah,
But you know life is throwing up flares that's telling you, look, this is not, this is, I can't become a part of this. So after a while it was like, I gotta leave this environment in order for something different to happen for me.
right.
Um
Yeah.
and
So,
then you know
so
I'm happy I did
yeah, I
that.
obviously had to make them moves, man. Hey, I feel you.
Yeah, sometimes you got to go to grow.
Yeah. Hey, I
You know.
like that. That phrase, patent pending. That's all for me, Jay. You know what I mean? Nah,
Let me check
yeah,
Google, make sure that's
yeah,
not copywritten.
I know, right? But no, but I wondered though, like I said, if it was never anyone necessarily, that was physical that you kind of like, admired or looked up to, but even just to happenstance to watch someone famous, like was there ever a famous Black person that you kind of was like, man, like you were just enamored by, that you was kind of like, wow, like you really kind of appreciate the way they move?
Yeah, not really. And I only say that because in New
Yeah,
York City,
yeah,
it was nothing to bump into a celebrity, you know what I
yeah,
mean, in
yeah,
Manhattan or
yeah,
whatever. And the vibe, you've never met a bunch of people who really didn't have nothing but act
yeah,
like they did.
yeah,
So everybody had this image to protect. So
yeah,
everybody thought a little bit higher of themselves than
yeah.
probably they were. I don't know if that's good or bad, probably good, but
Right, right.
so you just never had that, oh man, Denzel, I want to aspire to be like that guy.
Yeah, yeah,
Even though we admired him,
yeah,
I admired him, but it
yeah,
wasn't never like, oh, I gotta, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
it was just never that, you know what I mean? But and
So
I
no,
think when you're in an environment like that, especially
yeah,
in a big city like that, where
mm,
it's so heavily populated,
yeah,
you grow up a lot faster than you probably should. You know what I
mm.
mean? Because you have so many different influences. So
And
maybe
so,
that has something to do with it.
well, with that adult mindset, right? So it seems like I said, you kind of grew up kind of fast. You had to mature a lot fast, right? So you ask yourself, like, like what what's something that you wish someone had told you when you were younger that would have prevented you from having to learn it, a lot later on down
Hard
the
way.
line?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. Yeah. I wish I would have understood more about building positive habits.
Mm,
Um, I wish I would have understood the principles of being consistent a little bit
okay.
more, and financial management.
Hmm.
Things that I had to kind of learn the hard way,
Hmm.
or things that you dismiss because you don't understand it. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And that you kind of come back as an adult and be like, man, they they wasn't teaching that in Sunday school, or they wasn't
Yeah.
teaching that in the first grade or the second grade or the third
Yeah.
grade. You just never got that concept. You kind of learned it later as you needed it as life continued. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I wish I would have understood the power of consistency when
Mm.
I was a younger man, like I do today. You know
All
what I
right.
mean?
And would you say that's one of like, is that up there like with integrity, or is that a characteristic that you've kind of hold up like, like top three, and if so, like what other ones are like good characters that a person, young man might need to incorporate in his own personal being?
Yeah. So it's a lot of things, like like just basic principles, like for example, the secret to success is that there is no secret. You know what I mean?
Right.
You in order to be successful at something, you have to do the routine routinely.
Okay.
You have to be in engaged in doing it the same way every day. And all of the examples were around it. And I'm an entrepreneur at heart.
Right.
Um so all of these principles kind of run into each other. But I'm starting to realize that, like for example, if you are good at something,
Mm.
then that's what you need to find out how you monetize that thing,
Mm.
and make it your own, and allow it to produce an income for you. Because
Mm.
with the old adage, if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life.
Right.
So I'm starting to really realize that those principles are tried and true.
Mm.
Like for example, the survival principle:
Mm.
one is none, two is one. Always
Okay.
have a backup for something that you really need in order to push your vision and your dreams forward.
Right.
You know what I mean? If I'm in the business of being a YouTuber, and I have one camera,
Yeah.
then I don't have a camera. I
Yeah.
need two of the same cameras.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that if something happened to that first one, my business don't stop. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That kind of thing, those principles, and doing the one thing you love
Mm.
over and over and over and over again until you see success. And don't give up. Don't spread yourself too thin.
Yeah.
Like for example, in my current situation, I
Mm.
was, like, I'm a reseller. I sell on eBay as a side hustle.
Right.
Yeah, but one time I was selling on eBay, I was selling on Amazon, I was selling on Poshmark, on
Yeah.
Mercari, on
Yeah.
Grilled. I was doing all that. So then when you're doing everything, you're really not doing nothing.
Yes, sir. That's what's up.
So then I had to learn you know, to cut all of that out
Yeah.
and just focus on one thing.
Yeah.
And then that's when success started happening.
Yeah.
You know.
I can dig
McDonald's
that.
ain't trying to sell chicken, man. They did one time, but it didn't go well.
Yeah. That's what's up, bro. That's what's up.
So that's what I wish. I wish I would have had those principles early on. I'd be a millionaire today, man. I'm trying to
Yeah.
work on $1 million. You know?
Hey, well, you got mindset. The mindset is halfway there, right?
You hone in on that one thing. Like, come on, man. We watched Michael Jackson just do the same dance, man.
Yeah.
But he perfected it.
Yeah.
He did that one thing,
Yeah.
and
He
then
killed
he killed it.
it.
You
Well,
know?
look, let me ask you this though. Like, growing up, were you a hard headed kid though? Like, did you take heed to advice, or did you kind of just like listen? It just falls on deaf ears. You know what I mean? Because like you said, you just kept it moving, man.
Yeah, man. I was hard headed, man.
Mm.
My parents had to tell me one, two, three times,
Mm.
And then I got caught. And then, I was a typical child. I mean, I got into mischief and had to get corrected and all of that. And I hated it then, but man, do I appreciate it today. All of
Okay.
my dad telling me you gotta be upstairs at a certain time. The old rule. I grew up. Dad said, listen. He said, listen, son, you see that street light over there? If that street light come on and you not upstairs,
Yeah.
we got a problem.
Yeah.
So I'm outside, and it's so funny. You can tell what kid's dad was still in the house
Mhm.
because we the ones that left the park first.
Gotta be go.
Got to be
Yeah.
gone. But when
Yeah.
the kids and I was wondering why these kids get to stay out because
Yeah.
they had nobody
Yeah.
threatening them to get upstairs at a certain time.
Nah,
But
that's true, man.
yeah, man. So definitely had that structure. And by the time my parents separated, I was at 16. I was already who I was going to be,
Yeah.
and I kept a lot of those values,
Mm.
and it kind of made me who I am today.
It's interesting that you say that 16 you were, typically, already who you was going to be.
Right.
Because it do seems like, in a sense, like black people were always looked upon as having to mature earlier, right? We grow up fast, right?
Yeah.
And so the question is, like, is there like a benchmark? Like, how does a kid know if they're an adult or not? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't think they kind of yeah. I, I don't know. I think as things happen,
Mm.
um, you begin to adapt to that environment in order to survive. The survival instinct comes in very early,
Mhm.
you know, which is probably why, African American people are some of the people who have invented some of the most, the greatest inventions in the world came
Yeah.
from, you know, African people or
Yeah.
people of color. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because we had to learn how to do without for so long that we invented things to kind of compensate for the loss,
Yeah.
you know? So, I think that with that, I mean, I know there were kids, man, that was way beyond their years only because they had to survive,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah.
And it's funny, man. I really, now that like you asking these questions is making me think.
Right.
Even when we were growing up, my friends were drug dealers,
Mhm.
but I didn't think nothing of it. Like I
Yeah.
didn't like from an instinct that okay, they're selling a harmful substance to somebody else
Right.
who's asking to buy it,
Right. Right.
but you kind of look at them as like they're just trying to survive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's not until later on you realize, hey, that's wrong. That's not what you want to do.
Yeah.
Don't do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this is why you shouldn't do that. But
Yeah.
those lessons came later, to be honest with you. They came later on as you got older, you start thinking like, you're killing the community and that kind of thing. But when you're growing up, you don't see it like that.
Yeah. And you're right. And they would say, when you see your buddies out there, they consider themselves they the man, they the men,
Right, right,
but
right, right.
like
And
what
especially when they had the cars and the
yeah,
jewelry and the clothing and
yeah,
everything was as a status symbol. You know what I mean?
yeah,
They got the latest Jordans or something. You
yeah,
know what I mean? It just comes with this image. But
yeah.
uh,
So what is a man? Like, in your opinion, what makes a man a man?
I think what makes a man is anytime that you are just taking care of your responsibilities,
Mm.
one, um, making an honest day work or honest day living, um, you know, making sure that you're taking care of whatever falls to your responsibility, that you're not blaming the man on where you are,
Yeah.
that you're taking responsibilities for your own actions. And even if you are working at McDonald's or Taco Bell, if you are earning an honest paycheck, then
Mm,
it's an honorable thing.
mm,
And no matter, as long as you're holding your own, you know what I mean? I think that's what really, really, really makes you a man. And then standing, I think it helps to also have faith,
mm,
be a part of a system that that you realize that there's something bigger than you or higher than you, something above you to look up to in order to
right,
keep you grounded. You know what I mean?
right,
That
right.
kind of thing.
No, I can dig it. I can dig it. And so with that, in your opinion, what's a man's role in the relationships?
Like, you mean like husband and wife relationship?
As in spouse. Like you
A
can't
spouse?
say husband. Yeah, you can't really can't say husband and wife because
Oh,
what if it's a husband and husband? What if it's a what
oh,
I mean? Yeah,
oh.
yeah. Say yeah. So it's got to be like
It has to be.
in
Oh,
in the
I mean,
dynamic of a
I
partnership.
mean, I don't know. I think
What
any
is
relationship is you have to bring your strengths to the table.
Mhm,
Um, I may be more analytical,
mhm,
and my wife may be more detail oriented,
mhm,
um, or she may be more emotionally driven, and I'm more logically driven.
mhm,
The mixture of the two make a perfect union
mhm.
when it comes to making decisions for our kids, and that has been the backbone. But as long as there's no big eyes and little U's,
Mhm.
I think as long as it's a united front, and that you learn to, if you it's okay to disagree, and if it don't flow, it don't go.
Mhm, mhm.
Learn to step back and look at it again if you disagree. You know what I mean? Like you got to learn to respect each other's space, and
Mhm.
make sure that like it's not like I'm the man, that and you're the woman and
Yeah,
you
yeah,
do what I tell you to do, and that, I mean, that's all. That kind of thinking is so far gone and so primitive. But
mhm,
I think we do have our part to play, and
yeah,
as long as you're playing your part and you're bringing your part and you're holding up your end,
mhm,
then I think all things work out. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
In a relationship, um, you know, it's a give and take, man. It's a yin and yang. It's a pull and a tug. It's just, you know what I mean. It's really a give and you know what I'm trying to say. It
yeah.
it
Give and
goes it
take.
goes
Yeah,
it goes. It's a give and a take, right? It
yeah,
goes both ways.
yeah. And so, one of the funniest things about being a guy is the crash course you get in rejection, right? So it's not something you can't go to school. It's no class you can take. It's no test you can take other than trial by fire, shoot your shot. so, so how do you advise a young man to handle rejection when they out there trying to court? You know what I mean?
Man, look. I mean, if you're trying to go and you see something you like and you go
Yeah.
for it, I think it's always good to just go ahead and introduce yourself in a way that's obviously subtle and respectful.
Yeah.
And if you get rejected, it's okay. I'm telling you, it's okay. And the
Yeah.
reason why it's okay is because um, there are plenty of fish in the sea,
Hmm.
meaning that there are other people out there. You know what I mean? And at times it don't feel like that because that's who I want, but
Hmm.
there's other fish in the sea. Just keep it pushing. Just move on, and what I mean, and then just and it be sometimes the people who same person that rejected you. Sometimes they come back later and one's like, "Oh, I didn't know back then,"
Yeah.
or whatever. So it's all good, man. It's nothing to take. It's nothing to take seriously. I'm gonna tell you that. It's nothing to
Yeah.
be like, "Oh God," or whatever. I'm rejected. Don't fall into depression over it. Just
Yeah.
move on. It's okay. It's
And
okay.
what about the same mentality like when it comes to rejection from a job? Like you're coming out of high school and you're just like, man, I really want this job. I'm gonna apply. They said they're
Yeah.
gonna give me a call.
Yeah.
I didn't get that call, or I do get that call and I didn't get the job. How do you handle that rejection from employment and things like that?
It must be something better.
Mm,
The reason why I didn't get this is because there got to be something out there better for me.
mm.
I'm a type of guy that believe that everything happens for a reason.
Okay.
There's a reason why we talking, Ken. It's a
Right.
reason. It's a reason. I mean, I know the ultimate reason with the aim and focus here, but it's bigger than us. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just think that everything happens for a reason. So
Yeah.
when rejection comes,
Mhm.
I say, all right, God, it might that might not that's not it. My bad.
Yeah.
That ain't it.
Yeah.
My bad. I didn't understand. I mean that I missed it.
Yeah.
And every time,
Mm.
there's always something better. Then you look back and be like, dang, it's a good thing I didn't get that job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a
Yeah.
good thing. It's a good thing I ain't messed with that girl or
Yeah.
that guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
it's a good thing
Yeah.
because everything in life, you know, happens for a reason. And you just got to go with that. You know,
I can dig it. I can dig it.
opportunities are always there, man.
But with that though, with that, everything happens for a reason, right? Okay. So at the end of, I don't. I guess I kind of need to shift focus, right? So,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on? First of all, let me just get your clarification. What is respect to you? What does respect mean?
Um, I think respect comes from um holding something or someone in high regard
Mhm.
or or putting them in a place where you would want to be placed or you know treating people how you would want to be treated.
Okay.
That's a really thought-provoking question
Mm.
because you know what it means, but then you don't know sometimes how to articulate that.
Mhm. Mhm.
But obviously it's holding someone or something in high regard or esteem or value. Not giving you the Google definition of it, but
Right. Right. Right.
that's just how it comes to mind when I think about the word respect.
Well, given that, like you've had a taste of both, right? The city life and the so-called country life, right? Because
Yeah,
that's technically how you plan it, right?
yeah, yes,
So with that, like it's just an idea that everyone has. In the city life, is not a lot of respect versus in the country life, it's a lot of respect, right? So,
oh yeah.
but yeah, but see, so what is that? Like, how do you view respect as in like respect for elders? Like, how does that, what happened to that idea of that?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, I don't know, but even though, so even though I come from the city, my parents did raise me to have respect for elders. So I really no, I don't think I know it starts in the home. It
Mm,
starts in the upbringing because my kids have respect for their elders
mhm.
because they know I'm not having that.
Yeah.
Uncle BJ ain't having that. Or dad not having that. Dad
Yeah.
is not having that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I know that it starts in the home. I know that it starts by example.
Mhm.
And then you kind of go from there. But I will tell you though,
Mhm.
when I left New York, and
Mhm.
the first place I lived was Richmond, Virginia.
Mhm.
It was a change, man. It was a up. It was something like I would like it was crazy. Like
Yeah.
I remember walking into the supermarket and the
Mhm.
lady behind me in line said good morning to me, and I'm like, ma'am, do I know you? Like I had this like, why are you talking to me? But in New York, I just wasn't used to people, I was sitting outside and somebody drive by and they wave and I'm like, whoa,
Yeah.
what you waving at? Do I know you? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I didn't have the concept of
Yeah.
good Southern hospitality.
Right. Right.
Um, you know, I know that sounds almost like a contradiction, Will. I thought your mother raised you right, but she did. And I
Yeah.
do have respect for my elders, but we ain't
Right.
like people stayed in their lane in New York. You know what I mean? Like yeah,
Okay.
people, like
Yeah.
if you didn't know somebody, you just
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You definitely didn't approach him and just off the cuff, like, what's up?
Yeah.
That wasn't happening. But I learned that, I had to really adjust, man, mentally adjust to like, all right, these folks out here ain't trying to get me.
Yeah.
It really just mean good morning.
Yeah.
And after a while, I caught on. Because
Yeah.
like today, some people say, man, I would have never thought you was from New York, because people kind of pin down New Yorkers as being rude and
Yeah.
obnoxious or whatever. But when you grow up, like when I came outside here in the South, I might see one person.
Yeah.
Maybe. In
Yeah.
New York, when I came outside, there's about 100 people outside, man. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? It was just the environment is completely different.
Yeah.
The sense of urgency is completely different. With that much people living close in proximity to each other, you gotta have thick skin, man, because people will try you.
Yeah.
So
That was and I asked that question about respect only because, as you know, it's a huge issue right now between Black people and police officers, right? So the question, hey, the
man.
question is, man, like how do you advise a young brother to interact with the police now?
Oh man, listen, bro. Listen, look at Uncle BJ. Listen to what I'm saying, bro.
Yeah.
You gotta use your head.
Mhm.
It's about survival. And if it's about survival, listen, you're not playing checkers.
Mhm.
It's not sit down, boy, or and then you respond who you call him boy.
Mhm.
It's sit down, boy, and you maybe not respond, but you keep your cool,
Mhm.
and you deal with the issue as it unfolds so
Mhm.
that you can go home.
Mhm.
And I'm not talking about fear.
Mhm.
I'm talking about using wisdom
Mhm.
in the situation to ensure that you don't escalate the situation in a way that will um, lessen your chances of going home that night. Because whether we think it's right or wrong is irrelevant.
Mhm.
Um, it's about, okay, what do I have to do in the moment to get myself safe, and what steps I can take after this to maybe fight for my right. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
Um, in the moment, uh, don't don't agitate the police.
Yeah.
Um, Try to stay calm. Try to think. Uh, you know, don't play checkers, play chess.
Mhm.
Try to think 4 moves ahead of your opponent,
Mhm.
and just do the right thing in the moment in order to survive. Uh,
Mhm.
and especially if you're with other people, and that's not the time to be like, you know, I'm gonna show bad, I'm gonna be bad, and do
Mhm.
this, that, third, because I don't want my boys to think I'm a punk. It's
Yeah.
not about being a punk. It's about surviving and doing what's right in the moment. If you want to turn on your cell phone, you want to record it or whatever the situation is, do that. I mean, but just don't say anything or do anything or make any sudden movements or agitate the police and give them a reason. Because at the end of the day,
Mhm.
2 pullers in the chest ain't it wasn't worth what you said 5 minutes ago. So you have to just um, you know, um, be aware that. Apologize for the dog. You can
Oh,
hear the
yeah.
dog barking.
Yeah, mine came in early. I had to figure out what you went. Crazy, man. They be moving. But yeah, no, I feel you. I dig that, man.
Yeah.
And I kind of, I kind of think about the idea of common sense, right? Like, so, like in your mind, what's common sense?
Yeah, common sense is doing what you need to do in the moment to survive.
Mm-hmm.
And I know at times good sense ain't common.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But common sense would be to do what you got to do in the moment to sorry, my family just coming in to
It's
just,
cool. It's cool. I ain't gonna take up much more of your time
no,
here.
that's okay. No, you good. I had to get them to wave.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but common sense is just trying to do what's right in the moment to ensure that we all go home.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. One step at a time.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, big, like I say, I'm not gonna take up much more of your time, man. We are running short. And so
Nah, man, you good.
I wasn't able to get through all my questions. So of course, if you're comfortable, brother, we'd like to have you back. And so we can keep the conversation going. Is that something
Yeah,
you'd be up
absolutely.
for? Okay, bet. And like I
Yeah,
said, man, so what I like to do is give everyone an opportunity to kind of leave with some words of wisdom and drop a plug for your business, however you want to do it, you know what I mean? Because this is the forum for that, man. It's all love. We're just trying to get out, then the most, you know, the most positive stuff we can get out. Plus, we want to support our own. So this is your moment to go ahead and, put your plug in and drop some jewels if you want.
yeah. So first I want to just really Ken, this is fantastic, man. I really applaud you for being proactive and thinking of creating a platform that will help galvanize and energize our community to do um, the right thing and to be a part of something bigger than ourselves. You know what I mean? And,
Yeah.
and to influence and get away from the stigmatism that so often plague our people. So
Mhm.
I'm really happy that you're a part of creating this and making this happen for so many.
Thanks, bro.
I'm optimistic that this will go far and people will see change because of this. So thank you for the opportunity. But
Yeah.
if if so, my last remarks would be anything worth having is worth doing badly at first in order to get better. Hone your craft. Like I said in the beginning of this, be diligent. Make sure that you are doing the routine routinely. Don't take no for an answer. Go after your dreams. Be intentional about the things that you want in life, and everything else will fall into place. You know, we are so much. You are the most important person on the planet. There is never been a you, and there will never be a person like you after you're gone. So whatever you do every day, know that you are unique in that whatever God's purpose for your life is exactly where you need to be. So just go after your dreams, be good, um, be good to people, give back, you know, and no, that's it, man. Thank you for the opportunity. I enjoyed this. Thank you.
What's up? All right. You want to plug the biz? Are you good? You go next time.
No, so the business I'm in is reselling. I am a reseller. I buy low and sell high. you know,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
and I'll say this and then I'll move on.
Mhm.
The reason why I started doing that is because you know there's no there's no stock market. I mean, there is a stock market for people who know how to do that, but there's nothing like spending $5 and flipping that to 20 or $30,
Yeah.
and it's nothing like going to work. That's one thing, but creating income on your own talent, it's nothing like that. And
Yeah.
owning your own, there's nothing like that. Being able to produce income for your family without having to punch a clock for somebody else.
Yeah.
There's no other feeling like that, and it's about your freedom away from the 9 to 5 grind. So that's what my ambition is, to be able to my plan B has now become my plan A,
That's what's up.
and just trying to move in that regard and not looking back. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
There's no better feeling than that, man. So yeah.
All right, bro. Well, like I said, I appreciate you, man. I thank you for stopping by, bro. And like I said, we will reach back out to you in a few weeks so we can get you back on here so we can continue the conversation. All
Let's do it, Ken.
right.
All right, man. Thank you.
All right, bro. Thanks, man.
All
One
right,
love.
man. God bless you.
All right.
All right.
Yep.
Later.